What's up, you guys? Rocker here with another tutorial. We got a lot of curly hair. Definitely gonna put that in the shampoo bowl, cause otherwise that's gonna take a whole hour to spray that hair down. Like to start detangling that at the ends and work your way towards the roots. After you got that detangled with your wide tooth comb, section off that left side there and pull out a vertical subsection. Try to keep your subsections about a half an inch or smaller wide. And I'm doing some over directing upward. I wouldn't really consider this true 180 degree cutting. Otherwise, I would be bringing the subsections parallel to the ground, and that would retain the most amount of length at the bottom of the haircut. Before I get too deep into explaining the effect of over directing and 180 degree versus 90 degree cutting, let me explain some of the things that I'm doing here that I'm seeing as we go. If you observe closely, you'll notice that I'm not actually cutting the perimeter of the hair. I'm skipping the very bottom so that I can clean up the edges at the end of the haircut. He specifically said that he doesn't want length taken off of his hair, he just wants it to be shaped. As you're moving from the front to the back of the head shape, there's a few different ways that you can do this. You can overlap your subsections with the hair that you already cut, or what I like to do is I'll create a horizontal subsection following the guide at the top of the parietal ridge, and once I do one horizontal subsection, now that's my new horizontal guide that I can drag towards the bottom of the haircut with vertical subsections, if that makes sense. It's kind of like cleaning a movie theater. You could start at the bottom or you could start at the top, but regardless, you got to clean this whole entire theater. So the fastest way is probably to go and get rid of all the big stuff first, and then nitpick the little small things that your manager might yell at you for. To describe the difference between 180 degree and 90 degree cutting, I'm going to use the analogy of driving up a hill. So if you're driving up a hill and this hill is completely flat, that's going to be 90 degree cutting. If you're driving up the hill and it's got a little bit of a dip to it, then that's probably closer to 180 degree cutting. Now if you're doing 45 degree cutting, that's not really going to have too much of a dip, but it's going to be a different angle than 90 degree cutting, where whatever angle that you use, it's going to have an even graduation, but it's going to be sloped parallel to the direction that you pull out that subsection. The direction that you pull the subsections out is going to also influence the direction that the hair wants to lay. So if you want the hair to lay towards the back of your head shape, then you're going to want to angle your subsections towards the back of the head shape. So that would mean that the bottom of your subsection would be closer to the back of the head, and the top of your subsection would be closer to the front of the head. The same principle is applicable to over directing. If you over direct the hair towards the front of the head shape, then that is going to leave more weight towards the back. That's why you'll see hairstylists, when they're working on women's bangs, over directing in the opposite direction of where the hair is planning on laying, because they want to retain more length at the ends of those bangs to give it more contour, but also so that the bangs frame the face nicely and they have a little bit more length towards the back than the front of the actual bang itself. Now that I've cut the sides, I am doing 90 degree cutting and angling the subsections towards the back of the head shape, cutting about an inch from the top of the hair. And as I'm doing this, I'm joining that with the sides and just looking for, okay, this is where I cut hair. Now I'm going to use that as a guide. And since the angle is slightly different, it's going to lay slightly different, right? The sides are going to have a little bit of graduation, and then the top is going to have more even layers to give the haircut overall a better shape. When you're cutting longer hair, if you maintain consistent tension throughout the haircut, you can pull out the subsection, keeping tension in the hair, and as long as you keep tension in your fingers, you can let go of the tension in the hair. Bring your fingers closer to the head so that the hair is all bendy and stuff, and you can cut the hair, and you'll still be cutting the hair at the same place that you would if you were maintaining the tension the entire time. But you just got to make sure that wherever you are cutting the hair, that it's at a point where you have consistent tension in your fingers. So anywhere before your second knuckle on your middle finger. Now that I've cut a majority of the top of the head, I'm just combing through and seeing if there's any parts where there's a buildup of weight or if there's any kind of a disconnect overall in the haircut. Right there, I'm doing a little bit of 45-degree cutting, and we talked about that earlier. I did it because I noticed that there was a buildup of weight there, and I just wanted to shape the haircut. You got to use your eyes for this stuff. You know, no matter how methodical you are, there's still going to be times where you need to pull out some of the tools in your tool belt and fix some shit that you weren't anticipating. Now I'm going and cutting the perimeter, and when I'm doing this, I'm literally just grabbing lock by lock and cutting anything that is poking out from the haircut. If I wanted to be real methodical, I could round out the bottom a little bit more by doing some 45-degree cutting to join the bottom to the bottom of where I was pulling out the subsections. But when I look at it, as it's curling up, it doesn't really need it. The cool thing about working with curly hair is that it's very forgiving as long as you know what you're doing.